Hey, let me give you a 21st century Western Zen cone. Cone, is it called? I don't know. But anyway, one of those things like the sound of one hand clapping. When I say spherical, I mean ensfericll. Spherical in all dimensions. Whatever that might mean. Not just in 2 dimensions, not just 3. 2 dimensions, it's a circle. 3 dimensions, it's, well, in 1 dimension, it's a dot. A point. Infinitely small. But still non-zero. And in all the dimensions conceivable and not conceivable, well, it's ensfericll. Yes, ensfericll. Which in English I would use just the letter N, but since the sound I want is N, I have to use EN, N. Heaven is ensfericll. And infinite. Both in what we might term size and membership. 'Tis the glory of God. And includes his very self, of course. His loveliness. Thank you, Dan. So in what way is it a Zen puzzle? Zen koan, as I think it's called? Well, the thought of such is such, and is the cause of the being such. Thank you, Dad. Koan is spelled K-O-A-N. Apparently, I've just checked. And pronounced like that, roughly. It probably is a bit rough, but still. The meditation upon such is meant to be helpful as to leading you into enlightenment. The Zen understanding of enlightenment is that you don't necessarily have to take reincarnations to get there. You could do it in a flash. And it's the flash, I think they mean, that comes from the mind struggling with something that it recognizes is unhandleable. And for a moment the mind stops, and that allows an opening for the glimpse of true reality, if you like, as opposed to conventional understanding of reality. And you're never the same again. Paralleling Christian conversion, he saw the light. He met Jesus, He had an awakening moment. Well, the relevance here is the concept of a circle and a sphere is handleable. The concept of ensfericll is, well, we can't handle in our mind what the other dimensions are. But in some sense we're inferring that there's this same character as found in 2 dimensions and 3 dimensions. being, I don't know, perfect, symmetrical, unending, eternal. And something we see in the universe, isn't it? In a gas cloud, well, as we understand it theory-wise, gravitates together into a lump. It gravitates into a beautiful sphere. How amazing. In 3 dimensions we get, well, I mean, the Earth is not quite spherical. It's a bit blobbed. It's crushed at the poles and bulged out a bit at the equator, and that's, we understand, to do with the spin and the fact that it either is or has been a bit more malleable to adjust its shape accordingly. We can imagine that if it was a bit more malleable and the spin was a bit greater, it would turn into a disk. That reminds me, of course, of the shape of, I think spiral galaxy is the most popular shape found in the universe. But the spiral is, we do get the impression it's something to do with the sheer speed at which this heap of matter is spinning. The heap of diffused matter spinning. Astronomy is fascinating. I was hooked on astronomy as a kiddie. In fact, I think it was the final overcoming of my inability to read, was that I just wanted to know what was written next to these pictures of stars and galaxies and so forth. I had a need to find out what was written there. And need is the mother of invention, isn't it? Is that the right phrase? I think so. Thank you, Dad. Yeah, in terms of logic, what matters is the circularity is impregnable. It's an offence to logic, really. And the logical person tends to dismiss it as unacceptable because it's impregnable in a way. It's almost saying, but you could have had anything else that was impregnable too. What is inside it? In other words, there could be many such bubbles and very varied. This is not useful. I want a singularity. It's a bit like the Asian person that comes to you when you're a lecturer and says, which of these theories are we meant to learn? And you say, both of them. You say, but which one's true? They're contradictory. You say, yeah, well, it's not that simple at the minute. We don't know. We're at the stage where both theories have some advantages and some disadvantages in our understanding of a workable view of the universe. Well, the Asian looks at you and says, you mean you're not Grand Master? You don't know everything. And you as a professor look back and say, no. This is shattering to his conception of the completeness of all things. That the universe isn't complete yet. The Grand Master doesn't know everything. Oh dear, panic sets in. Uncertainty. But it's this uncertainty that gives you your freedom. And freedom is slightly foreign to that culture. They're brought up in the culture of obedience, not freedom. Obedience is a mechanical relationship. Life is not. It's creative, unbounded, life eternal, abundance of life. There's a difference. It's reflected in our supposed differences of political structure in our societies, East and West. Yeah. Thank you, Dad. So what we're saying is that we come to realize that being, the state of being, is a work in progress. It's not that this is the creation that we're in. We are the creating, continuing into the future. It's never a finished job, never done, never complete. We're envisaging the ideal as being complete, so we think of God as complete. But then, from the point of view of creativity and life, we realize that eternal life is eternal complexity, variety, in terms of time, continual change, from to, without end. That is what life eternal is. It's ever a work in progress. And that has a strange implication that it's never finally what is, only what it is at a certain time. On the other hand, it's more than never what was. Or could I say what was never is? Never was is. I'm way out of my depth. Thank you, Dad. More importantly, I'm way out of what is relevant to me, us, at the minute. So we fall back on the Buddha's advice. Don't try and understand all this stuff. Practice it. Or in more Christian terms, taste and see that the Lord is good. Focus on whatsoever is good and lovely. Let it transform your life accordingly into life eternal.